Vinyl community, we are back for more scary videos. Well, not scary videos, scary album covers to go along with our Halloween theme. I couldn't get it all in one, so we're gonna do two. The first thing I want to talk about before we jump into the albums, I do want to talk about somebody very special that passed away this past Friday, the 25th. The bassist for the Grateful Dead, Phil Lesh, was absolutely amazing musician, an amazing person. So I want to do a real quick tribute to him before we jump into the albums. So I'm going to show a couple of the albums that were near and dear to him and that he had a heavy hand in producing and was involved with. So for the Grateful Dead, I'm going to show the Grateful Dead, The Anthem of the Dead. This originally came out in 1968. It was their second album, but this here is the 1975 remixed version. So Phil remixed this. So this is his little baby. This is his side project. So this is an amazing album and it's an awesome mix. Definitely listen to it when you get the chance. The second one I'm going to show from Phil is their 1977 effort, Terrapin Station, which it's a favorite of one of mine, and I know for a fact that this was a favorite of Phil's because his restaurant that was in San Rafael was called Terrapin Crossroads, and that place was an awesome family restaurant that was in the marina in San Rafael, and I took my family there all the time, and it was near and dear to our hearts because it was a great place to listen to music, get a beer, and then the kids could also run around and play around, and there was food for the kids and food for the adults and something for everybody in a beautiful setting. So this is another great album that he was heavily involved with. The last thing was a side project that I want to show. It's called Sea Stones. And this is a very strange electronic experimental album that he did with Ned Legg, and then there was also Jerry Garcia was involved with this, David Crosby, Grace Slick, Mickey Hart, and Spencer Dryden from Jefferson Airplane. So this one is an oddball, it's an oddity. It's more or less kind of a curio for me, but this was a project that he, again, was heavily involved with, so I wanted to pay tribute to him. Okay, now we are going to move back on to Halloween scary albums. So the first one, we're gonna do another 13. So the first one I've got is Halloween, Walls of Jericho. This is an awesome album. This is power metal from Hamburg, Germany from 1986. This is their first album here. And as you can see on the cover there, it's a rockin' good time. And this one was on Combat Records in the States. And over in Germany, it was on Noise Records. They're considered pioneers of the genre of power metal. So this is an outstanding, amazing album. If you're into power metal, if you're into thrash, check it out. Number 2, we have Nervous Gender, Music from Hell. So this one came out in 1981. It's on Subterranean Records. This group was from LA, and this is considered punk, and it's also considered electronic, industrial as well. And the first side of this album is called The Martyr Complex. The second side is called Beelzebub Youth. So very dark themes from this band, and they went on to pioneer a genre that's actually called queercore. So another interesting little tidbit about them. Number 3 is one of my favorites. We've got the Dead Kennedys from San Francisco. This is their first album, Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables. This was the famous punk band from San Francisco. This is their album from 1981. And so on IRS Records, this is the first cover, which has the lovely Halloween orange and the flames. The band did not approve of this cover, so this one quickly went off, and then they changed all the orange to black. But there's some big heavy hitter songs on this one that were particularly popular for them. California Uber Alice might be one of their most famous songs, and then Holiday in Cambodia as well. And the Dead Kennedys were definitely known for their extremely eccentric and strange frontman, Jello Biafra. All right, now number 4, we have the Misfits, back to Glenn Danzig and company. This is their third album, Legacy of Brutality. And these guys couldn't be more within the Halloween vein. So they, this album is from 1985, and it's on Plan 9 Records, which is also affiliated with Carolyn Records. And Glenn Danzig is the frontman, as I mentioned. And the genre that they're considered to have pioneered with the Misfits is called horror rock. So they're very into old horror movies, the sound, the feel, and they would dress up in skeleton costumes when they perform live. Never saw them, was too young for that, but would have been an absolute delight, I'm sure. Number 5 is from the Ramones. We've got Brain Drain from 1989 on Sire Records. So this is actually their 11th studio album. So the Ramones have been around for quite some time when this one came out. The famous song on this one, or the one that is most notable, probably is from Pet Sematary. It's a song, Pet Sematary, which was featured in the film and was also kind of a minor hit for them. The other one that I like here, will kind of fast forward us into the next holiday. The last song on side 2 is Merry Christmas, I Don't Want to Fight Tonight. So that sounds like a really, really fun Christmas. But the Ramones are an amazing group. This is a really strong effort for them. And Marky Ramone, who I talked about last time, who was in Dust as Mark Bell, had left the band in 1983, but he'd returned on this album. So nice little tie-in to our last video. Speaking of tie-in to our last video, we have Ronnie James Dio back yet again in his first band, his first incarnation, Elf. And this is actually Ronnie here on the cover, which is pretty awesome. It's he's looking very scary, very menacing. This is their first album. They were a hard rock, blues rock band. This is from 1972. It's on Epic Records. And the funny thing is, this is before Ronnie James Dio had changed his name to Ronnie James Dio. So his name back here is credited as Ronald Padavona, bass and vocals. So not as cool as Ronnie James Dio, but nevertheless pretty awesome. So Elf had 3 albums, but this is the first one. I like this one the best. All 3 of them are worth checking out, though. Now we're going to move on to Bauhaus from the UK. So Bauhaus had, their frontman was Peter Murphy, and this album's called The Sky's Gone Out. It is their 3rd album, and it was pressed on, I have the U.S. pressing on A&M Records and Beggar's Banquet. But the imagery on this is really amazing, and it definitely lets you know what you're going to be listening to. It's goth rock, it's post-punk, and Peter Murphy's voice is dark, it's haunting, it's brooding, it's amazing. Definitely, if you haven't heard Bauhaus, check out Bauhaus and their most Halloween-esque song, which is not on this one. They had it on a single early on. It's called Bela Lugosi is Dead, and that is a fantastic song. So, all right, we're going to keep it heavy. And now we're going to Ministry, another one of my favorites. Ministry, this is their third album. This one is on Sire Records. It's from 1988. And this is considered industrial metal, dark metal. They were from Chicago. And the albums that they had before this, before The Land of Rape and Honey, which is quite the title, were more synth pop oriented. So they had a very lighter, easygoing attitude before Al Jorgensen took the turn here. And they actually have a Halloween song as well that's really awesome, but is a little bit more synth driven. And that one is called, I'll show you that real quick. That is just on a EP here, called All Day. But the song that they have on this one is called Every Day is Halloween, and it's really fantastic, but it's more synthy and poppy, not like The Land of Rape and Honey. Okay, number 9, we have Hellstar, Burning Star. This band is also a power metal band who helped push the genre in the States. So I was talking about Halloween before, that were pioneers in Germany. These guys were from Houston, Texas. This is on Combat Records. This one is from 1984. And like I mentioned, this is their first album. Really good stuff. Lots of fast playing, lots of screeching, and a lot of fun. All right, I know that I didn't talk about Metallica before, so we're gonna get around to Metallica now. And I think for the albums that I have, this EP has the best cover to fit our theme. And this is the EP Creeping Death. And this is actually a French pressing. And it has Creeping Death on it, Am I Evil, and Blitzkrieg. And this was on Music for Nations. This is a great little EP. Most of these songs you can get on their albums, like it says, Ride the Lightning. You can get Creeping Death. And then these other two are on Garage Days Revisited. But this is a fun little EP to have. It sounds great, and the cover is fantastic. And I won't dig too deep into Metallica because I think we all are really familiar with them. They're one of the biggest bands in the world. So, all right, number 11 and last of the metal, we have Malaya Rage, Kill to Survive. So this was a thrash metal, power metal band from Boston. This album is their first from 1988. And this is just good stuff all the way around. Again, if you're into the fast and heavy thrash, this will cure all ails. It's got what you need. So, but I think it's the first one that I have shown here from Boston. Not a lot of East Coast for the thrash. So now we're going to move away from metal. Like I said, that's kind of it for metal, but it's still gonna stay spooky. Don't worry. So now I have numbered in the 12th spot, The Shining soundtrack. I think this is one of the most terrifying soundtracks. It's one of the most terrifying films. And there are no songs with singing. This is all compositions, but the compositions are scary. They're evocative. They set you in the mood. I mean, you know where you're at too. So it says Rocky Mountains, so that's when they're driving up to the overlook. But this is really taut, tense music, and it's absolutely perfect fit for Halloween. And this one is from 1980, Warner Brothers Records. So now we're gonna move on to the last one, and again we're gonna take a little deviation. Number 13, we have Frantic Conception. This is actually a hard rock, psych rock album from 1970. This is on Lizard Records, and this group was from Billings, Montana. This was their only album, but it's a really good one. And I'll show you the vinyl here too, because it's kind of fun. It's got the lizard on the label, and this is the white label promo. But I wanted to show a few things that weren't metal and cap it off with psych, because that's traditionally what I'm talking about. So that will do it for the second installment of our scary albums. And I would just like to say, if you enjoy the videos, please please subscribe, so we can get the algorithm going and we can keep sending you videos. And send me a message. Let me know what you like, what I missed, and I'd love to talk to everybody out there and to provide content that's of value to you out there. So thank you, and happy Halloween, everyone.